So these are the greenhouse effect, greenhouse gases. So these greenhouse gases also they have changed their concentration in the atmosphere. As we know, the 100 years ago, the concentration of CO2 in the atmosphere was 275 ppm. Now we can see recently it has been reached to the 400 ppm. So this recently, and when we are predicting for the future with some models, or these models they are just propose that during 2040, so this CO2 level will be around 450 pm. You can see, so 100 years ago, what is the rate or what was the actual quantum of CO2 in the atmosphere? That was the 275 ppm. We can see that time the population was very less, global population. But as the industrialization after this 1900 means we have after industrialization we have just started, and the contribution of CO2 is tremendously increased. Nearly it will be go just the next 18 years it will reach to the double, almost reaching to the double. Okay, so this 450 ppm contribution of the CO2 gas. So CO2, how it is harmful? Another gas is methane, nitrous oxide, then the nitrogen oxide, halogen gases like carbofluorocarbons. So these all are contributing from the our side, the human made things. As we know, the cooling industry or the our refrigerators, AC, they are contributing the this chlorofluorocarbons. Secondly, nitrogen oxides is also contributing, and methane is also contributing. For methane, we have the paddy field. Then the another sector is the animal sector. So these four prominent gases, they are just making their presence in large quantum. And by the way, the presence will act as a blanket in the atmosphere. As we know, we have the different layers in the atmosphere. There are four spheres in the atmosphere at different heights. So this layer, what happen while these rays are coming to the Earth's surface, and the presence of these different gases in the atmosphere, what will they do? They do like just act as a greenhouse. As we know, greenhouse, we have the glass house, greenhouse in our experimental field. Same way it is acting. Means they are allowing to enter this sun rays on the Earth's surface. But while it was going back to the atmosphere, certain wavelengths they are trapping, and they again redirecting back to the Earth's surface. And that will create the another activity that will rise the Earth temperature. So this concentration of all the gases will be witnessed for the rise in the temperature. Earlier we can see easily. So what was the temperature? What was the concentration? We can see 100 years back, the concentration was less, the global temperature was less. After that, within 100 years, how this scenario changed totally. The concentration of the CO2 is also, as well as other gases also rise in the atmosphere, and they are contributing towards the trapping this heat energy, and they're radiating back to the earth surface and increasing the earth temperature. Then these another gases, they are also acting similar way. Think for a few minutes, if this blanket is absent, what will be happen? So definitely our earth will be cool immediately. So this blanket is also essential, but not like that. We don't need a large number of gases in the atmosphere. If this blanket is absent or these gases are absent in the atmosphere, what will happen? In the night time, we are losing every energy, all energy, and our earth will be become a very cooler, just like a polar. We have the north and south polar. See, the that two polars having the below 0 degree Celsius temperature. So such type of condition will be persist on the globe everywhere. So this blanket is also helpful to maintain the earth temperature, but not in a fashion that the concentration of gases will increase. That will also harm to the human interest. So this type of mechanism is happening, what we are discussing. So how much contribution of these gases in the atmosphere? As we say, this CO2 just it is trapping 56% energy. Methane is trapping 18%. Chlorofluorocarbon is 13%. ozone is 7%, and nitrous oxide is 6%. So such type of uh, trapping mechanism is present in the atmosphere, and they are just rising the Earth's temperature. Regarding this greenhouse gases, what are the different sectors they are contributing in the atmosphere? As we know, we can see this the industrial process. From this industrial process, it is coming around 16.8%, whereas our electricity power station, they are just contributing 21.3%. Waste disposal and treatment, that requires 3.4, it will also contributing 3.4%. Then the our land use and biomass burning, that is also causing 10%. This biomass burning is a serious issue in the northern part, particularly in Haryana, Punjab states. They are burning their crops before the after the kharif. They are just burning their crops, rice husk, and due to that, the quality or air quality and visibility is the problem in the Delhi and surrounding states. Then the another is the fossil fuel processing and distribution. It is also contributing 11.3%, and our agriculture byproducts, they are contributing 12.5%. Whereas transportation fuels, it is the largest sector after the industrial and power station, that is contributing 14%. So this much of the contribution from the various sector emission is happening still there in the atmosphere. So this is the only just picture how this gas effect is happening on the Earth surface. So this Earth surface is receiving, as I have told, that different valence radiation. So this radiation is trapped in the atmosphere. Some part of just absorbed in the atmosphere by the various impurities present. Some is radiated back. Even cloud, ozone layer is present. So ozone is permitting some just they are trapping the ultraviolet rays, and they are also useful, helpful to not allowing this UV rays to reach to the Earth's surface. But these chlorofluorocarbons, they are just making the when the just by increasing their concentration, they are disturbing our ozone layer, and that will permit ultraviolet rays on the Earth surface, and that will harmful to the human being as well as the animal, this vegetations also, or agriculture sectors. See the outgoing radiation, incoming radiation. This is a picture form, and how much energy is coming on the Earth surface. As we know, ozone has the capacity to rebuild. Actually, last 2 years we are experiencing this pandemic surge, and during this pandemic surge, what happened? We have seen there was a continuous in first this COVID-19. The lockdown was experienced all over the globe. So during that period, the emission from the transportation sector as well as from the industrial sector was less, and the build of this ozone layer was happened very fastly. Some of the articles I have read, it was shown that the reprocessing or the capacity of the this our nature to rebuild is very fast. So we are hurriedly we are making the emission very fastly, but it has own capacity to rebuild back. So this ozone layer rebuild is a process, it is a natural process, and it will come build rebuild with the absence of this some gases in the atmosphere. So definitely we have to think, we have to cut down the emission of this CFC gases, so we will maintain the equilibrium of the this ozone layer in the atmosphere. Then the again this same picture, this radiation balance, how the it is maintaining the albedo and the other important aspects on the Earth surface. If this radiation balance is disturbed, what will happen? Definitely, our temperature and other associated parameters are increased. The activity, because in weather, temperature is a very important factor. Due to temperature, we know the different pressures are created on the different locations. Moment of wind, it is also depend on the temperature. Monsoon activity, everything is associated. So, single thing that temperature is associated with all the weather parameters, and to rising the temperature, we are disturbing all the weather series. So that is the main thing in this climate change sector. Then the greenhouse effect, as we know, this greenhouse presence of this greenhouse gases in the atmosphere, day by day increasing. So we are just contributing the our other sectors. We are just making the other sectors very
Hello.
Prashant, allow me to share the screen. Audible?
Hello, sir. You can now share the screen and start your presentation.
Yes. So sorry, just due to this net issue. So this influence of this global greenhouse gases. So what will happen? Actually, we are just discussing the things that these greenhouse gases they are contributing in the atmosphere. Okay, it is fine. But how much they are impacting on the Earth surface? As we know, this rise in temperature near about 3 to 9 degree Fahrenheit, or the rise in ocean level by 3 to 5 feet, floods, extreme and other events, climatic change in tropics and subtropics. So we will go one by one. So this rise in 1 degree Celsius temperature, rise in 1.5 degrees Celsius, this intergovernmental panel on climate change, recently they have done one report. So in that report, what was the finding? So this rose in temperature will be up to 1.5 degrees Celsius. And right now we are experiencing the 1 degree already. So this 1 degree rose we are experiencing. And what impacts what we are experiencing? See, last 2 and 3 years, we will take the examples, particularly for the Maharashtra state. The rainfall patterns they have completely changed. Earlier, we know our onset was in June month, and it varies with region to region. In our Marathwada, we have the second week of June. In Konkan, nearly up to the second week of June, it was the onset of monsoon. For Madhya Maharashtra, similarly, and Vidarbha, it has a different date for the onset. And withdrawal period was just similar. It was around the 15th September to 20th September. But last 3 years, what we have experienced in our state, the withdrawal period it was just shifted in the month of October. So it was never happened that October has the very good quantum of rainfall or excess rainfall. So similarly, 3 years we have experienced this heavy rainfall events with in particularly what we semi-arid tropics of our state. We have the 9 agroclimatic zones. We are just experiencing the different climatic situations regarding the rainfall. The heavy rainfall events are happening frequently. Means the number of rainy days also increase during this period, and due to this expansion of this rainfall period for more than 2 weeks, And officially during this year, India Meteorological Department, they have declared for the Maharashtra, now the onset is 1 week before, and withdrawal is 2 week ahead. Means we are getting 3 weeks of monsoon period extended in our regular monsoon period. So see, so that definitely impact on our climatic that cropping pattern also. So that part will we will discuss at end. So this shift in the monsoon period was just observed. So this will be continuously we are expecting under this climate change condition, that some semi-arid, arid areas, even semi-arid, we have this long area, a large area under the semi-arid tropics in our country. While we are starting just in our map, we just taking example from the Rajasthan, uh, in Rajasthan, Haryana also we will take, and some part of Haryana, Rajasthan, then some most of the part of Gujarat, even most of the largest part of our state, Maharashtra, then northern Karnataka, and then go down towards the Tamil Nadu, Andhra, Telangana. So these are the areas where the semi-arid tropics is persisted. This long patch is present in our at India. So this other climatic classification, there is another issues. So we can see we are just targeting the semi-arid tropic. Why? Because this agriculture sector is especially depend on the monsoon and monsoon activity. So whatever the area under this rain-fed condition, it is a large in the country compared to the irrigated condition. And over the period of time, what happened? The some semi-arid tropics also is converted into irrigated condition. Means taking the examples in few states earlier, we have the we just take example of Solapur district. So see, it is a semi-arid and a, what kind of rainfall? We don't receive the rainfall more than 500 millimeter there. So still, but it is a totally irrigated area. So this progress in the irrigation sector has happened, and it will help to the agriculture sector to just shift that particular area in another agroclimatic zone. But serious issue is that these type of gases or these type of greenhouse gases, they are contributing towards the rise in the temperature, rise in the sea level rise. It is happening definitely. As we know, we have the glaciers everywhere. So these glaciers are melting due to rise in the temperature. So this temperature is rose, already 1 degree Celsius is rose. So definitely melting processes at a large quantum. And what will happen? This melting is happening continuously. Definitely, the sea level rise will be 20 to 740 centimeter, causing floods in areas with the low coastal areas. Just example, we will take the Netherlands and Bangladesh. As we know, our neighboring country Bangladesh, it was earlier our part. So this Bangladesh will have the rehabilitation problem also. As we know, this sea level rise happens, whole Bangladesh will be submerged. Even big cities around the coastal area like Mumbai, Chennai, Odisha, in Odisha, in what we say, our another city is uh, Kolkata. So these big cities, those are on the coastal sides. They are facing the problem trouble. Where should we rehabilitate the peoples from that country? Because this water will enter in the on the land masses. So this whole land masses will be submerged. This serious threat will become, and such type of the situation will happen in coming years. So for that we have to be another safe place to rescue these people. And just like another in Asia, we know the Philippines. It is several islands are there. So the Philippines country is specially having the large quantum of the islands. So these small islands will be submerged. So Fiji is the another country on the globe. There are several countries. They have the just like islands. So and then the coastal belt. So definitely they will be submerged. So where should we make a provision for the people? So because we don't have the such much time, it will come suddenly, just like a tsunami, as we have seen the tsunami. What happened? Suddenly things are coming, but by the progress of science and the accuracy of forecast, what we have just expecting, we are getting the sometimes in our hand, and it was shown in the history also. So every cyclone or tsunami activity, we have succeeded successfully rehabilitated people from that particular coastal area, and this casualties was happen was minimum. Whatever
Yes,
the
sir.
other
I
things
think our slides
we
are
are
not
just
changing
using
again.
is okay. Then the effect of another is the this water is the drought is the another reverse condition. As we know, we are just discussing on these semi-arid tropics. These droughts are continuously happening every 3 years. There is a cyclic condition. From 2013-14 we can see 14 was the drought year, 15 was a drought year, suddenly 16 was a good year, but again the 18 was a drought, just a drought year. So after 3 years we are just experiencing the drought year, but last 3 years we have experienced the wet years compared to the drought years in our Maharashtra state. So this drought year is continuously happening, and due to that our agriculture sector is much more having the impact. Similarly, the human being also is affected this drought condition. Even animal sector, people, they are all suffering due to droughts. As we know what is happening, I will not go in detail. Just we will see in the agriculture sector at the end. So another is the
देऊन द्या पण
effect of
फक्त
the
मला
acid rain.
विचारलं नाही पाहिजे तुम्ही कुठे आहे आता.
Yes, any issue, any problem?
हो ना ताई, कारण मी मॅम कडे एक वेळा मी गेली ना.
Okay. So this acid rain, what are the sources? As we are very fortunate that such type of rain we are not experiencing in our areas, but those areas having the industrial sector. So these peoples they are expecting this acid rain, and what are the sources of this acid rain? These are the sources, and the sulfur dioxide is the major contributing factor which was present in the atmosphere. While the rains of drops are coming from the cloud, so they are just precipitating and they are coming with this impurities present in the atmosphere, and we are expecting this acid type of rain. Actually these factories or this coal burning of fossil fuels, motor vehicle exhaust, the smoking, these are the different things that are contributing towards the acid rain. And we know these some areas they are very much what we say polluted, and they are just contributing the this industrial sector, they are contributing the different impurities in the atmosphere. The government has banned some such sites, and they are not giving the permission to new license to this particular that industrial sector for the new industries to just avoid or cut down the rate of this emission, particularly this sulfur dioxide. Then this acid rain has the bad effects on the human beings as well as on the agriculture sector also. So whatever the orchard, vegetable, everything, so it will affecting all the sectors very badly. As we know, some impurities are coming means we are just deteriorating our water quality also. So it was not helpful to anything, that impurities coming with the rain. So that definitely damages our crops, even human health, drinking water quality, and the erosion of building and metals also, destruction of nutrients and in the subsoils, killing of the marine life. So everything is just destroyed due to the acid rain, and it has a fixed pockets in our globe. So where it was observed, everywhere it is not observing. I'm just repeating that there's some chemical base, this sulfur dioxide having the major source in the atmosphere from the industrial sectors, and that was contributing to the acid rain. I will give the example of the Ankleshwar. It is just near to the Bharuch, that industrial belt. So last decade, what happened? Government has banned to permit the new license in that particular zone, and they are not allowing to any new industrial sector because the presence of lot of impurities, lot of chemical factors are there. So such type of conditions and such type of measures government and other sectors are taking, so we can escape from the acid rain mechanism also. Then the another is the how to control this greenhouse gas in the atmosphere. What are the mechanisms are available to cut down the greenhouse gas effect in the atmosphere? So we know that, so we have to be stick with the our policies. Recently COP25 was happened, and in that summit it was decided the developing nations, how much they will contribute the different gases in the atmosphere, because developed nations they have already done the contribution. Now the developing nations have the some different kind of policy, they will contribute because they have the right authority to develop their peoples, their country. So they have the different emission rate for the CO2 and other gases. Similarly, we can see that recently we heard the news that government is promoting for the electric cars, as well as government is also just promoting for the ethanol in the our petrol. So what is the that ethanol is contributing to cut down the our atmospheric CO2 level or other gases. So definitely it will be helpful if these petrol and diesel vehicles will uh, change to the electric. What will happen? Definitely we will cut down the rate of emission. But similarly, for electricity again we are depending on our conventional things. So we are burning the coals. So again we are contributing. So we need to be come out with the other solution alternatives. If electric cars will be there, so we should think about the who what sector, because right now in our country we don't have the that we are even in political and socially people are not accepting the nuclear power. So because nuclear power is another alternative source, so that will escape the mechanism of power generation, and that will be giving the alternative for our using the coal, because we know the coal is a natural resource, one day it will finish. So we should we can we say we alternative this power sources should be there, so we can generate the electricity. But due the security measures and some consequences, we are not what we can say accepting that nuclear power sector in our country. Even some reports in developed nations, even developed nations, they have the nuclear powers, but they have the very safety measures. So we should be come with the safety measures definitely in future, that nuclear power will solve the problem of electricity, as well as this contribution of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere also. And that will definitely reduce the this cut down the this our greenhouse gases in reduction of the use of CFC gases. CFC gases, what will happen? Right now we are taking the capacity of every individual is very good, so earning power is good. So some part we don't need the some cooling mechanism. Still we are using cooling mechanism, just like the refrigerator, then the ACs. Throughout year it is not necessary. Some period within a year it is required, so we can use. But throughout year, as a lifestyle we are taking, so this sudden change in our lifestyle, so we have to be changed to cut down the use of these CFC gases. And even this deforestation is happening on the large scale. So new plantation against that carbon credit is very less. So we should think every individual, we should at least think that we need to increase the area of the plantation. Deforestation happens with various reasons, as we know, the industrialization, urbanization, these are the some reasons. They are cutting the trees very largely, but again across the country or across the globe. So against that we are not planting in such a rate, that new plantation should be faster compared to the what we say deforestation. There are some carbon credit policies are there. Now for every industry they have to show the carbon credit, and they are then after that they are just promoting for the industrial expansion. So some such policies are existing. So that policies I think will solve the problem. But apart from that, some precise species we are cutting, as we know what are the species in the our forest. So we should be aware. Even recently this forest fire is also uh, creating a problem due to rise in the temperature. We know during the summers in the Amazon, in Australia, other parts of the globe, we are even in our country also some forest burnings are happening. So we should take care, or we should minimize such activities by interventing. So we will definitely avoid the greenhouse effect in the atmosphere. As we know, a lot of carbon dioxide is captured in the our wooden frame materials, whatever the table, chairs, whatever the furniture is available with wooden, because it has captured a lot of carbon dioxide. Once it will be burned, so we are releasing a lot. So we should be very cautious before burning any waste material. We should recycle that material for other purposes. So we have to think on that issue also. And this man-made greenhouse gases, we know, knowingly, unknowingly, we are just contributing a lot of things in the atmosphere that was not necessary, particularly. And as we know, the plastic is the serious threat on the globe. So it has a very long period to decade. So it will sustain for a longer period, more than 100 years. So we have to think, because we are just throwing daily using these plastics, and we are just garbage making. Because alternately what happen at the end, it is going in the water bodies, and it is just disturbing the aquatic sector in the sea surfaces also. Finally it is going in the sea, whatever the all the waste. So we have to think on that. Even animals they are consuming, they are facing the some serious health hazards, and we are just making them also sick by our own mistakes. 1 minute. Sorry. uh, So our last segment is the climate and food production, because we are interested on the food security. So this how this weather, climate, these are the factors that are affecting the food production. We know that climate is a very essential this weather is a very essential, or the any climatic condition is just making the suitability of any species or any kind of the vegetation on the earth surface. These are the weather parameters that are contributing to the our agriculture sector. This temperature, rainfall, our sunshine, solidation, CO2 level, so they all are contributing. The temperature and rainfall, they are just governing these first three parameters as we go: temperature, wind, sunshine, solidation, and rainfall. They are just having the role in the evapotranspiration. As we know, the temperatures are higher, we know that the loss of water will be more. And if this solar radiation is more, we say the photosynthesis activity is governed very good. For regulating this photosynthesis, we need the water, we need the light, we need the this CO2 also. And this abundant amount of all these parameters, so they will deteriorate. Means we need the fixed quantum of all these parameters, but in nature it will not happen every time. So we are developing such different varieties that will be sustained for any adverse condition. And ultimately what happening, we are just interested in our agriculture produce, agriculture yield. So how much quantum of the water is available, how much quantum of the other factors are available, particularly growth stages of a crop. So that will decide the crop production at any level, and any region, and any type of the vegetation. So these are the some examples I have just given here. So what will happen if the temperature, these parameters are changing, or they are becoming very adverse in our agriculture sectors? How, whether they are beneficial to us, or they are just helping, or we need to modify our microclimate to just sustain our crop production? What kind of the what are the changes we have to do using our existing cropping pattern? So this impact of plants on the biophysical and physical process also, because as we seen these different parameters, definitely they are impacting on largely on the yield. But internally, what is happening? If CO2 is level is increased, so whether increased CO2 level associated with the temperature, definitely CO2 level is increased means it is increased the temperature also that particular location, and that will impact on the phenology of the crop. As we know, for the every crop we have the different kinds of the phenological stages: vegetation, after germination, vegetation, the reproductive stage, and the final maturity stage, where the different phenological events during the crop growth period. For short duration, long duration crop, we can see if the temperatures are very higher range compared to their optimum temperature requirement. So definitely the first phenological event will move to another phenological event very fast. The accumulation assimilation process is fast within the plant, and that will contribute for the move the or force the internal changes for the another different phenological stages. So it will go in another phenological event. But in between, what happen? That internally the enzymes release or enzyme secretion, that process was hampered, and due to that, the food production process, the final yield, we are just having the we are getting the just impact at the initial stage. Means at what stage we are getting this abiotic kind of the stress. As we know, during the drought period, what is happening? Temperatures are at higher side. So this abiotic kind of stress or increase in temperature, so definitely it is in serious threat for the agriculture sector, as we are talking for the rain-fed areas only, because we are considering that we don't have the irrigation facilities. Farmers, they are 100% depending on the monsoon rainfall. So then those big areas, big sectors, this increase in temperature is affecting very seriously, and the yield levels, they are losing their yields most probably than the 50 60%. So at initial stage wise, we can see at vegetative, reproductive, and maturity, if we have the drought, different kind of drought, how the yield losses are we are getting. So yield losses are different at different phenological events, but our phenology is just changing due to this climate change, and we are not expecting good returns at the end. Similarly, this our carbon dioxide, they are certainly changing in the atmosphere. Means what happens? So we are just having the different kind of the photosynthesis process in the our plant system. We know we have the C3 and C4 system, different species. C3 doesn't support for the rise in the temperature, the CO2 level, but C4 is supporting. So it is beneficial. I told that how can we take the advantage of this climate change also. So this C4, those are the species, those plants or the crops, they are supposed to be having the very good impact that C4 pieces. We can utilize that in a positive way. But for C3 pieces, we can't do anything. We have to develop the new variety, and for that purpose we need a very good breeder, and associated with all these sectors, what the internal one physiologist who are who can suggest the what kind of the uh, what kind of the variety we need to develop in the future. This climate related climatic factor for agriculture productivity, as we have discussed, this 4 to 5 factors, they are most important for developing the new variety in the agriculture sectors. So they are governing at initial stage what optimum temperature requirement is there, what precipitation rainfall is requirement is there. So we know the things at different phenological events. So definitely we are able to know, or we are able to just sustain our agriculture productivity. I will take an example of soybean crop or the cotton crop or the sugarcane crop. So at this particularly those two crops, cotton and sugar or soybean and sorghum. So they are definitely depends on the rainfall, and the sugarcane is irrigated crop. Suppose we will have the fixed this thermal requirement at different phenological stages. We know the thermal requirement. That is the what optimum condition is required at after the germination in first phenological stage, second phenological stage, third phenological stage. Definitely, these current temperatures or current weather parameters are not matching with the required. So we need to alter we need to make a modification, and that modifications come from the some developed technologies. Suppose we are just in rainfed or dryland. What is the common technology developed since long decade? Particularly, we are just expecting during the dry spell, we are taking the spray of the potassium nitrate. So that technology is useful to just close the stomata of the plant. So and they will sustain for another 10 days. So such type of technology across the apart from this, we need to develop some strains also. They are useful in soil, so they will sustain their crop. So in Haryana also they have developed some strains during the abiotic stress, and they can useful for the particularly wheat crop. So such type of strains, microbial population, we can just have a contributing factors to just sustain our agriculture productivity. So we need to think that how our phenological events, internal changes, because we know one of the parameter, that is the rainfall, water is the most important for the crop, for mobility of nutrient, for translocation of nutrient. Physiologically we know, I will not go in detail. So for that we need the water. If water is not available, if water is available at the lower temperature, what will happen? So definitely that water is not mobile at lower side of the temperature. Every plant, every vegetation, every crop has the different threshold temperatures as well as the this base temperature. So below that, this base temperature, the plant will not sustain. Suppose 10 degrees Celsius is the best temperature for soybean crop, and our area is expecting that temperature ranges are less than the 10 degrees Celsius during a period of 5 10 days. So what will happen? Definitely it will change the physiology or phenological condition of that crop, because this whole system, physiological system, is hampered due to this low temperature. Suppose higher temperature range is also fixed, more than 38 degrees Celsius temperature is happening continuously. So definitely it will rising the water losses from the water bodies or the plant sector, and that will create a problem, that is the abiotic stress. And we are losing the our even large quantum of water is evaporated from the plant bodies. Even our nutrient, we are not able to take a translocate, nutrient process is hampered. And another sector is that our hello, another sector is the temperature. Just one minute. So this increase in transpiration, reduction in grain size, so everything is happen due to the temperature factor. This low light intensity is also having the impact on the reduction in the photosynthesis. Then the another is the not visible. This photosynthesis from the flag egg to panicle, decrease the number of grain from the plants. So that will having the faster development in the plant, and ultimately at the end we are losing our grain weight also. So the decrease in grain weight means we are having the less yield in our whatever we are cultivating in agriculture. So then next is the this we are taking the one example of muskmelon crop. Suppose we have the base temperature for leaf appearance is the 10 degrees Celsius, and optimum temperature is 34 degrees Celsius for the leaf appearance. So what will happen if above that temperature is coming? So definitely we will not get anything. Suppose temperature ranges are more than 40 degrees Celsius. So this will be hamper the our appearance, this that particularly leaf appearance on the muskmelon. Similarly, we will take an example of our mango. For this flowering stage, temperature is continuously rising. So what will happen? So it have a malformation in the mango. So this will reduce the quality and quality of the fruit, and this malformation at the flowering stage definitely having the role of increase in the temperature. Right now, the in the mango we are experiencing such type of situation. Then the our CO2, then the C in C3 and C4 plants, as we have discussed. Just I am just concluding at the end. So these all are parameters. They are making the impact on our agriculture sectors. Most serious issue nowadays we can see that rise in the we are just looking towards the wind speed also. So this wind speed also contributing lot, because this increase in the wind velocity having the great impact on the transpiration and stomatus transpiration. This increasing the wind speed also increasing the evapotranspiration losses from the our crop surface, having the lodging impact and making the serious injury in the sugar cane, then our sorghum, whatever the crop, even in the orchards also, tearing of the leaves, breaking of the branches, uprooting of the plants. These things are happening. So we have to be very cautious while selecting the such type of the plant toward the windward side. If any location having the wind speed high, we have to come with the some barriers, natural barriers, to modify the microclimate and to minimize the load of the these wind barriers on the our agriculture sector. So, most important another factor was remaining the biotic stress. As we know, this climate change may also helpful for the changing the behavior of the particularly pathogen or the pest. This biotic stress is contributing a large reduction of they are making their presence in our agriculture sectors, as we know. So we have to think all the biotic stress also, how the shift in the climate or change in the climate, it is contributing to the biotic stress also. So these are the few examples we have discussed. Actually, this sector is very big, and if we are talking too much, so we don't have the sufficient time. Prashant has told me that, sir, you just deliver the two topics. Prashant, I think the second topics, whenever time will permit, we will discuss. But this time I have come with the this effect of climate change on agriculture sector. This is the only topic we have discussed today. So I think in future we have the time, so we will discuss another topic also. That's the things I want to share with you. If anyone has the difficulty or any question, you just ask the question. Okay.
Participants are requested to, if you have any question, put in chat box, or you can directly ask to the sir also. Problem. Okay, sir. I think there is no any question.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, sir. Thank you. It was a very informative and knowledgeable lecture, because you have covered very well all topics that you have given. In that influences of global greenhouse gases, effects of ozone depletion, and that all points. So thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Our next session will start at afternoon. Okay, meeting is closed now.